Hello, everyone. Well, some stormy weather is heading toward the lower 48 as we head into the big holiday travel weekend ahead. And those impacts are going to spread out of the Rocky Mountains and across the country as we go into the time frame beyond the Christmas holiday for travelers returning home. We're going to look at that. We're going to look at a couple of different model solutions, and I'm going to talk to you about a meteorologist's perspective on what may be more likely than not to happen and what still remains uncertain with respect to our forecast as we head into, well, some real important travel time here across the lower 48. First and foremost, let's take a look at what's behind me. We're looking at a computer forecast model. This is the American model, and you're going to see this little swirl working its way on down in the southern part of the Pacific off the coast of California. Here it goes at the beginning of the model run. Here it is. That's called a cutoff low pressure system, cut off from the main jet stream. Now, as it kicks out of places like California and the desert Southwest, where places like New Mexico and places like Nevada have seen very little in the way of moisture and in fact have drought issues, are going to get a chance of some showers, even some snow in the elevated terrain. As that cutoff system works its way into the Rockies, it intensifies, it combines with a shot of energy from the Pacific Northwest and develops into what we call a Colorado low pressure system. Now, low pressure systems can form anywhere downwind from the Rocky Mountain range. It's just inherent nature downwind from mountain chains to see storms develop. But this particular storm is unique this season because we have not seen a lot of them in certain areas of the country. Now, this does promise to bring some wintry travel conditions across portions of the country. And depending on the strength of the storm system and depending on how fast it moves through any one particular area, that really will dictate exactly how much snow we see. Here on the American model, you see it boom, zip through, carrying many of its impacts up into the northern plains and then out through the northeastern United States. And some wet weather where we really need rain in places like Louisiana and parts of the southeastern United States, stretching from Mississippi on up into Georgia as we go into the holiday weekend and beyond. Let's step you through two models, and let's start right now with a look at the European model. Go. All right, check this out. Now, we're going to step through time. I'm going to have to let you know what time we're looking at here. I'm going to carry this through until we see the cutoff low right here on the lower left side of your screen. That is the cutoff low that has cut away from the jet stream, and it just is meandering aimlessly. Now, sometimes these can sit out in the Pacific Ocean for days until we get what's called a kicker, something to come and boo it out of its location and out into the lower 48, and then it will get caught up in the jet stream flow and be carried across the nation. Now, what happens is there'll be a little bit of energy coming at it from off camera, off the side of the screen, that kicks this thing out into the Rockies. You're looking at Thursday, very early in the morning, Wednesday, late at night. Now, watch this. There's LA, there's the Baja, and boom, look at all of the rain potential across portions of Arizona. Check it out. A lot of moisture. The elevated terrain as it goes through the Rocky Mountains here will add a chance for some flakes in the high country here. We're talking about southern Utah and northern reaches of Arizona. Now, this is on your Friday late at night. So travelers on Friday, look at this. Another system making landfall in the Pacific Northwest. Snowfall in the Cascades and the Snoqualmie Pass area. Now, as we head through the early part of the weekend or late work week, very quiet weather across the eastern 2/3 of the U.S. Watch what this low does, though, as it goes into the Rockies. Right here, this is Saturday morning, and this is a big travel day. Out in places like western Montana, Idaho, and western Colorado, the low pressure system is developing and intensifying, and here we go. Now it forms out on the eastern plains of the Rocky Mountains. This is called a Colorado low. The time on this is Saturday evening. Saturday evening, it starts moving out of the Rockies. Now, this is a change. This European model says it evacuates the Colorado Rockies very quickly heading into the Central Plains. So that on Sunday morning, Christmas Eve morning, scattered showers of rain, much needed rain across much of Louisiana could develop. Arkansas up through southern Missouri, a chance of very heavy rain showers. rumbles of thunder, it looks like the risk of severe weather with these thunderstorms is quite low the way it looks now. Now, the snow on the cold side of the system is going to start developing in the elevated terrain of the Black Hills. And look at that up in North Dakota. Now, as we head through time on your Christmas Eve, this is what Rudolph and the Jolly Elf will have to deal with as we head through about the midnight hour on Christmas Eve. A chance of snow, gusty winds, and some showers of rain all the way through the nation's midsection. Both coastal areas very quiet on Christmas Eve, the way things look. Now, this model, as we carry it through on Christmas Day, the low pressure system right here, the Colorado low, stalls in Iowa. That means very wet weather continues across the southeast and the, Mississippi Delta and the Mississippi headwaters, and the showers of snow spread across Ontario. Now look at this. It's still in the same spot as we head into the night of Christmas and Tuesday. Now this is where it really starts slowly exiting out. The snow showers continue across much of Wisconsin, and the rain, now a developing storm out of the Gulf Coast, moves up the northeast, or in a northeasterly direction up the Atlantic coast, carrying a lot more rain through the Carolinas and the Virginias. And look at this, ice and snow developing in the far northern reaches of the United States, including the Great Lakes region. Look at it's still snowing in places like the UP of Michigan and also in northern Michigan, and wraparound snow on the cold side from Minnesota down into Iowa. This is all the way out on Wednesday, and then the system exits. Now, as that system exits, it leaves us with quieter conditions as we head into Thursday, usually well beyond the peak of travel for the holiday time frame. That said, all areas of the country could be impacted from the southwest with rain and snow, and the central plains and central Rockies with wind and snow, and flat out potential for some heavy snow and wind across portions of Nebraska, South Dakota, particularly in the Black Hills, North Dakota, South Dakota, and also Minnesota and Iowa with snow and wind with the system, while we'll have areas of locally heavy rain and maybe a few rumbles of thunder through the Gulf Coast states and on into the Atlantic states as we go into Christmas Day. That's Monday and Tuesday when folks are returning home, with the impacts finally relenting a bit as we get into Wednesday night and Thursday morning. That is the European model. Now, we do have another model that we can take a peek at here, and we'll do just that, and it's the American model. Now, one thing we meteorologists are looking for when it comes to these forecast models is consistency between these two primary medium range models. And what we're looking for is, do they both agree on the timing, maybe the intensity or track of the storms? And the answer is they're starting to get a little closer, because the storm system and the time frame of its impacts is drawing a little closer as well. So I will pull up the global forecast systems model called the GFS, or the American model, and let's have a look at that. And that's the same one you're seeing behind me on the radar. All right, we'll start this over in time. Now, here's your cutoff low. Boom. There's consistency between the models that the cutoff low dives way into southern parts of California, off the shores of Baja, San Diego, Los Angeles, and points south. Now, as that system crosses in, you're looking at a time frame here of Friday morning. Now it makes its way into the desert Southwest. Both models agreeing Arizona has a great chance at some much needed rainfall and some snow showers in the elevated terrain. Now, as we carry this on, see the kicker up here in the Pacific Northwest. The storm system kicking this cutoff low out is going to bring some snow showers all the way from the Calgary area into the northern Rockies, Idaho, western Montana, seeing snow. Now you're looking at Saturday morning. Here is get out the door time. This is when the storm develops. Quiet travel Saturday, east and west coasts, with the Rocky Mountains getting the brunt of the activity. Now, as we carry this into Sunday morning, this is the morning of Christmas Eve. Look at this storm system. This is showing a chance for some very heavy potential snowfall, along with very strong gusty winds across the panhandle of Nebraska. So we're talking Scotts Bluff through Cheyenne into Denver, Fort Collins, Greeley, Colorado, and all the way up by, you get it. All the way up into North Dakota is rain. Warm, moist air working its way up into North Dakota. Cold December rain. All right, now as we carry you through your Christmas Eve day, this is Sunday morning, watch where the low goes. It's tracking northeastward. That's going to bring that snow risk up into North Dakota, but the Black Hills of South Dakota and most of Nebraska, particularly the western half, even into Kansas, out by Topeka, a chance for some very gusty winds, Goodland, Kansas as well. This lingers throughout the day on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day across western Nebraska, western South Dakota, and parts of the eastern North Dakota area into northern parts of Minnesota. Showers of rain, much needed across Louisiana, moving into Mississippi, Alabama, and all the way out towards Georgia as we go through Christmas Day. Christmas Day forecast shows this system stopping, pausing in Iowa and spinning, meaning we could get some very enhanced snowfall potential with this storm as we look out towards Christmas Day into Tuesday afterwards. So this American model is a little bit different, but they both do have this system stalling out a bit in the northern plains. Now, meanwhile, low pressure you see forming in the Gulf, well, that develops and pushes up the Carolinas. So South Carolina, North Carolina, heavy rain. This is on Tuesday morning as folks are trying to travel home. Finally, this low pressure system in Iowa starts to decrease in intensity. The winds start giving it up just a pinch, and the snow dries out a little bit as well. That means the impacts in the northern plains will begin easing as we head into Tuesday night, while the East Coast will get hit with some very heavy rain in the mid-Atlantic states, and that will carry itself northward into a double-barreled double-barreled low-pressure system that works its way through the northeastern United States. Again, another low pressure developing in the mountains of Montana as we head into Wednesday night and Thursday. Could bring some inclement weather to the central Rockies, but it looks light at this particular time. So here's what we know, and this is boiling it all down. In realistically, what we meteorologists are looking at, we have consistency in the early stages of the models with the cutoff low impacting Southern California and also the desert Southwest with some much needed rain. The confidence, therefore, is fairly high that this is going to occur. Now, once the storm finally makes its way on shore in the Pacific coast, then we'll have a better idea of what the models are going to agree to there. The models do differ a little bit as we head right through Christmas Eve and Christmas Day with regards to the intensity of the low and how fast it moves out of the Rockies. Remember, the European model kicks it out of the Rocky Mountains quicker, meaning Denver won't see maybe as much snow if that's the case. But the American model then showed it kind of lingering, slowly working its way to the north and east. And that would hugely impact snowfall potential from northeast Colorado, Wyoming, and Cheyenne, all the way up towards Gillette, the Black Hills of South Dakota, all of western South Dakota, all of western Nebraska, and a good portion of southern North Dakota will have a chance at some potent snow if that's the case. And this storm is strong in the sense that the pressure is very low. And when the pressure is really low next to higher pressure, we get very strong winds. So do not be surprised if we have some winter storm criteria met here. Will it be blizzard? It's way too early for meteorologists to start talking about that. But wind and snow that's prolonged for 3 hours or more. Okay, 3 hours or more at 35 miles per hour with visibilities near zero. That is by definition a blizzard. I'll keep you apprised of all of that. If you have questions and like the content that you've seen here, please throw a like on my video. Think of go ahead and subscribing to my YouTube channel. Share with your friends. Hey, there's a meteorologist on YouTube that's going over some of the details. This is what we know. This is what we don't know. It's a little early to get too excited yet, but if you do have travel plans on Christmas Eve or just before, then the impacts will be in the central part of the United States and west. But from Christmas Eve through the day after Christmas, take the Rocky Mountains and off into the Mississippi River Valley, all the way from Minnesota straight down into Louisiana. That's where your impacts will be. And then after Tuesday through Thursday, it will go from the Mississippi Valley out toward the Appalachians and the southeastern United States as well. That's a look at your weather. That's a look at the big Colorado low that everybody's talking about. And that's a hopefully balanced perspective. You have an awesome day. Check back with me a little bit later, and we'll keep you updated with the track and timing of this particular storm and others as we head through the holiday season. Have a great night.